Hey everyone and welcome back. In the previous videos we checked out the benefactor BR8. So in this one we'll be going to the next one, that is the Declasse DR1. So the BR8 was the Mercedes F1. The DR1 is the Will Power Verizon Indycar. And this thing is priced at $3 million, guys. $2.997 million. That is a lot of money. But comparing both of these cars to the previously released DLC cars, that is the PR4 and the R88, it's kind of slightly okay in those price terms. Also considering the fact that these are modern kind of F1 cars compared to those two earlier older kind of F1 cars. So in that term it's kind of okay. So yeah, let's go check out the customizations options this car has. The car is designed kind of good, all of these front wing, the rear wing, the side profile, everything is neatly designed, and also it kind of resembles the real life variant as well. So Rockstar has kind of done a good job with this thing. And going to the first one, that is the bodyworks, we have the top portion, the vented body, Mark II, Mark 1, carbon as well. This is actually good. Oh, and I also noticed that the exhaust pipes are visible in this thing. They're also positioned at the top of the car, so pretty crazy. Okay, so going back to the bodyworks, we have the Mark 1. I think I'll go with the carbon Mark 1, and it kind of looks decent, Also with the carbon outlining, I kind of like that. Next, moving on to the front wings, we have quite a few options. We have the angled fins, the lightweight ones. The stock and the angle, there's not much difference though. We have the lightweight front wing. This is kind of slim version of the wing, so I'll probably not get that. We have the circuit one, we have the dual. Okay, so we earlier had the single one, and there's the dual as well as the triple and the quad angle fins. I mean, the triple and the quad kind of looks way too much, so the dual one kind of resembles the real life one. So I'll probably go with the dual angle fins for this build. The front wing is kind of those extensions at the end is kind of weird. I'm pretty sure it's going to be scraping a lot. And then moving on to the exhaust, yeah, I mean this is kind of justifiable because we can actually see the exhaust. So upgrading that is kind of reasonable, unlike the earlier times where we couldn't actually see the exhaust that we were upgrading. I'll probably go with the titanium tipped one. It kind of looks good with the black and blue shade, so I'll probably go with that one. I kind of like that. Next we have the liveries. We have the first one itself is the real life replica or GTA version of the real life one, so pretty good. Then we have the NARC, the atomic. So these are the other options. I actually don't know if they are there in real life as well. If you guys have seen them, make sure to let me know down in the comments. I'm not aware of them, so I'll leave it to you guys. The last one is kind of crazy, that shark teeth kind of a graphic design is there. So to those who want to get that, you can actually do that as well. I'll probably get that later on, after completing this real life builds. Next we have the mirrors. We have stock, carbon, lightweight. The stock one kind of resembles the real life one, so I don't think I'll be even changing that. Next we have the nose fins. We have the short one, we have the carbon one, we also have the split nose fins, but I think I'll go with the actually, if you take a look at the real life ones, there is actually somewhat a similar design on that, but it is not in the livery paint, it is in the body paint. But here you can see it is in the orange shade, which is of the livery. So it's kind of odd, but still, just to get that resemblance, I'll be going with the large nose fin. The carbon one kind of highlights it, but instead of orange it's kind of better, so I'll go with that one. Next we have the nose panels. We have the twin inlet ones, we have the large ones, we have the geo inlet. Okay, so the geo inlet panel kind of resembles the real life one. Here's a closer look of that and the real life version. So this is a better option in my opinion. There's the other two options, which is the primary vented and the carbon vented ones, but I think I'll go with this right away. There's no doubt on that. The others don't even come close to it, so I'll go with that. Then now moving on to the paint options, we have okay, let me go get the silver one. This is still slightly darker, so I think I'll go with the bluish silver. That is a slightly, brighter shade. Yeah, as you can see, it's kind of lighter, so this is a better option in my opinion. And then if you take a look at the options in the metal section, these are somewhat, darker shades, so these don't come close to the real life version. So I'll probably go back to the bluish silver itself. The silver too, like I said, it's slightly dark, so the bluish silver is the one. Next, going to the secondary, it actually changes just the tiny portion on the rear spoiler, but instead of the matte black or any of the matte series, I think I'll go with the body paint itself. Even the real life one has a body paint, so why go with an alternative? Next, I also want to change the pearlescent color on this thing. It's kind of way too, yeah, it is in the white, so the orange color was kind of, bleached out, so it wasn't quite looking good. Hence I wanted to get that changed as well. Yeah, the silver is somewhat better for the pearlescent option. Okay, next moving on to the roof fins, we have quite a few options. The carbon roof fin. We also have the split roof fin. This doesn't look quite good. We have the extreme roof fin and the carbon one. I think I'll go with the extreme roof fin. Yeah, this kind of suits well, so I'll go with that. Next we have the spoiler options. It's actually quite decent, but I'll take a look at the other options as well. Whoa, the lightweight kind of chops up the bottom of that. We have the rectangular, the lifted. We have the lifted circuit wing, the lifted box wing as well. I think the lifted circuit wing kind of suits best. We'll go with that. Finally, we'll move on to the wheels, and I actually know the real life wheel design for this. And here it is, the snowflake one. But the thing is choosing the paint for this as well. I don't think we'll get the option for the paint here. We have the frost white, the stone silver. The stone silver is not even visible, so definitely not a good choice. The white, it kind of looks good because we are in indoors and it's not, that bright here. But when you go outside where it is bright, you can actually clearly make out the paint difference. So I don't want to deal with that. Instead of white, I'll be going with the silver itself. So here you go. And then we'll get the tire designs. Nope, the real life one doesn't have one, so we won't be getting that. Alright, it's all customized. Let's take it out for a spin. And here we are outside. It's kind of cool, looking at all those lights, lit up on the dashboard as well as the steering wheel. That's cool. And look at those flames. It looks badass. Right behind your head. Pretty cool. I kind of like this one. I wish we could see the exhaust of the other three variants as well, but sadly this is the only one where we can actually see the exhaust. And as usual, the handling and all, the performance, the acceleration is just like how we expect from the open wheel car, so pretty decent. And I want to mention right away, this is a stock performance car, so none of the engine, transmission or the turbo upgrades have been upgraded on this. So it's completely stock, just like the earlier video we did. So a completely stock car. And you can also see how the front, wing kind of clips through the surface, the road and all. That is kind of messed up. So in order to check the top speed, let's go get all the performance upgrades, the engine, transmission and the turbo upgrades, and then head on to the top speed test. And you can see we have got the super transmission instead of the race transmission. That is an option for particular cars, not all of them. It also costs extra $50,000, so I better hope it's worth it. And for this too, you can actually notice the changes right away once you get the performance upgrades. The acceleration is right away noticeable, and the other things like the handling is slightly affected along with that. So yeah, now let's move on to the top speed test thing. And here we are at the runway, and let's go. The speed, the initial kind of was good, but Oh my god, this too is actually terrible. It has dropped down to 113, 114 miles per hour. This is absolutely terrible. I mean, compared to those previous two cars, these cars are supposed to be faster because these are the modern variants. I mean, this particular one, even though it's not like the recent one, the BR8, it's still, comparatively modern. And this thing goes to just about 148 miles per hour. That's it. I mean, the benefactor BR8 at least went to 160 miles per hour. This thing doesn't go up there at all. Just 150 miles per hour. Quite frankly, guys, I'm not that happy with this thing. I'll cross a certain speed limit and then hit the boost. Let me check it out. 144 miles per hour and 147. That's it? Boy, this is kind of disappointing if you ask me. I'm not at all happy with the performance of these two F1 cars. I mean, although the speed might be, affected because we are doing it on the runway, it depends on the normal roads as well as the racetracks and all, and also the curb boosting kind of affects the speeds. So all of those things, the speed might vary, but still on a standstill, this 114 miles per hour is the basic speeds of the lower supercars. Some of the higher supercars goes up to 130 miles per hour, and this F1 cars just goes to 114, 115 miles per hour without the boost. I mean, with the boost it goes higher, but still, without the boost, that is kind of disappointing, I mean, 125, 130 miles per hour at the minimum would have been good, in my opinion. If you look at it, instead of having to buy both of them, you can actually skip this DR1 and get the BR8 instead. Other than the visible exhaust, there's nothing much special with that, the DR1. And if you take a look at the other two older cars, those two had somewhat of a similar speeds. So Rockstar kind of released these two new cars with a somewhat of a same performance. I don't know, man. I think a little more, intense testing is also needed. But as of now, from this basic test, I mean, I did the same basic test for those earlier two F1 cars as well. So it's not like I changed the test. It is the same test. So sadly, the first opinions, it's kind of on the downside. But if I have to choose between these two, I would right away say the benefactor BR8 is slightly better than the Declasse DR1. So if you guys want a newer one, get the BR8, not the DR1. So yeah, that's the comparison, review and the customizations of the Declasse DR1, guys. Make sure to stay tuned as more such awesome videos are to come. Do drop the video like and also subscribe if you're new to the channel, guys. Thank you all and have a good day.